Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk, a series where we explore various topics related to faith and everyday life. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to balance life, career, and church. How do you juggle multiple roles and responsibilities without losing your focus and joy? How do you find harmony and peace in the midst of chaos and stress? How do you align your personal and professional goals with God's will for your life? These are some of the questions that we are going to discuss with our guests today. They are three people who have different backgrounds and experiences, but share a common passion for living a balanced and fulfilling life. Let's meet them and hear what they have to say.
Nice. Next question, and you all have this before you. How do you share your expectations and needs with your spouse in your marriage? But Jamal, we'll go with you first on that question.
Communication. We talk about it all. And my wife is very long-winded at times. She don't kill me for it.
Like it's a bad thing.
It's a good thing. When you're tired sometimes. But on a serious note, we talk about everything. I've learned to understand my wife's triggers and what makes her feel good and what really doesn't make her feel good. And I've learned to be open to when her expectations are not being met, that I need to understand that and accommodate or fix what I need to get done. So we talk about a lot of things. Almost on a daily basis, we touch base. So that's how we deal with most of the expectations. I'm still learning because every year there's something new coming along. But we've learned to communicate, but in a healthy communication. Because at the end of me communicating to you, I want to make sure that you walk away understanding what I need you to help me with. So that's my word for this: communication. So
let me say something about myself first. I'm a person, I like to see things set out. If we start at point A, I need to see how we're going to get to point Z. I don't want to hear we going from A to Z just like that. And that is something I guess has caused me to be more of want to be a control freak, if that's the word to use. And again, being married for so many years now, I think I reached into 19 years being married, I've come to realize, yes, communication is a key. But if you have one individual who's not a big communicator, and that is my husband, he's not a big communicator, but when he does say certain things, it causes me to stop and think and to reflect on myself, because very often in marriage, you want to tell the other person how they should do this, how they should do that in order to make things better. But it's not always me having to say what needs to be done to make things better. It's for me to stop and listen to as well. My husband is a person, he basically allows me to, what should I say, plan and carry out and execute certain things. And very often, I have to make sure that I let him know this is what I think we should do in this aspect or in that aspect. Nothing bothers him. So at the end of the day, it seems like, okay, am I doing this all alone? And then I would hear, no, you're not. I'm listening, I'm paying attention. Really and truly, communication is the key to help deal with a lot of things. And like I said, me learning to step back and take a look and make sure, hey, don't become the teacher in your marriage, basically. That's what I've learned over the years. Yes, to take that out and just be a person, be an individual, stop, listen, and learn too as well.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And I understand what you're saying. You're speaking of your wife being long-winded. I think it's a thing that many women have.
yes.
The guy asks a question to get the answer.
Yes.
Not an answer. Not
and all the answers.
No, not the route not to take the next time that you're going to the hospital.
Yes.
But when women are about the experience and the journey, the guy is about the destination.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
Yeah. I need to make sure you take me there safely. I want to foresee the bumps and the hurdles so that I can prepare myself, not that I fall over. I guess that's just as us women.
Yeah, correct. Makes sense. But here's how a guy would like it. Let's get the answer and then we talk about the journey. We need to figure it out. We need to work. For example, we would be going to town or we're going around town and so forth. And I would ask my wife,
where are you going?
Where are we going next? Very specific question then. Yeah. And she's going to tell me all that she needs to buy, the groceries. And I'm trying to figure out, should I turn left or should I turn right? I'm not trying to figure out how much money we're going to spend. Where are we So we got to learn to live with each other.
Not to cut you across, but to add to that, in the past, we could start about apples and my wife would be down to the zebra and I didn't get nothing in to say. And it took some time for her to understand that when we do talk, we don't talk. I don't talk that much as my wife, but I do from time to time tell her, hey, listen, I don't agree with this. And let's look at it the other way. And I've told her that several times. When you're talking, let's address the matter at hand. And then we go on another conversation to another thing. Because from A to Z, and if I don't get to say something, in the beginning, I was like, but you don't complain a lot, man. But she wasn't complaining. It's just that I wasn't giving her that platform to express herself. So now I've learned to do that. And it's still long-winded, but not as long as before. So we give each other that time because I told her something, let me just interject so that I make sure you and I understand this is the apple.
Sure.
Let's go on now to the orange. It's a process that I've learned because I've also applied that technique now to it also when I'm communicating with other individuals, especially on my job.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thankful for marriage. I should have done it 30 years earlier. It's great. You learn a lot from your partner and it makes you a better person.
Yeah. This leads right into the next question concerning dealing with conflict. And Brother Jamal, you touched on dealing with conflict, as you said your wife would be going on from A to Z and you would just jump in there, interject, and you would say, let's deal with this matter. Yeah? When conflict arises, what are some of the ways you learn to deal with it?
Okay. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. In the beginning of my marriage, I just used to shut down because I felt my wife was talking a lot, but it was her basically expressing her feelings. I have learned now to pick and choose when I need to talk. I pick and choose when I need to bring across my message, and how I bring it across also is very important. So those are some of the ways that I've learned to deal with conflict in my marriage. That's what comes to my mind right now.
Let me hear from you, Sister Shamel. Let me hear from you concerning conflict as well.
Okay, I do the same thing that Brother Jamal does because I say all that I need to say and there is nothing coming back. No communication is coming back because I guess in my way of communicating, I've more been a teacher, beaten over the head instead of giving a chance to speak to as well or for me to listen. And so I've often done that, just shut down and don't say anything anymore, hoping and praying for it to work out by itself. But eventually I realized you still have to talk. You still have to be able to express yourself and not come over more of throwing blame. Because I think that's also, I guess that's just a human thing for us. We want to throw the blame or I want to point out the same thing. I told you this, I told you that, when you realize it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm learning now to stop with the just shutting down and learning to talk more. One of the things I've come to realize, and I guess you both will testify to it, as years go by, the things that you first enjoyed or didn't enjoy changes over the years too as well. So definitely. When you are young in the marriage, these things, oh no, that won't bother me. We're getting older and you realize, hey, but we need to figure this out. We need to deal with this situation. And circumstances in life causes us to change. And if you are not ready to understand or to help or to guide or to just listen to the other individual, then you catch yourself, but you're not a person who I knew before. But you realize it's because of circumstances in life. Different things happen. Your views change, your beliefs change, and then you realize you really go back to your vows, better or worse. The whole conflict thing has shown me as we get older into the marriage, what we did in the beginning can't be the same way. How we dealt with it in the beginning cannot be the same way now. We need to find different strategies to make sure at the end of the day, we both have that understanding with each other. And so those are some of the things I'm learning to now being married.
Yeah, very good points. Brother Jamal and Sister Shamel, you all could attest to this. Men and women fight differently.
Yeah.
It's not really a fight. It shouldn't be a fight. We fight differently. And what I've understood is that sometimes when men see it as a confrontation, what? This is disrespectful. I don't want to be a part of this. I need to separate myself.
Yeah.
My understanding more and more is that's the opportunity the wife gives to connect with you. It's not to push you away, but watching her, and let's say you listen to her, you look at her without the sound on, you would think he's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's not the goal. That's not the intention.
Yeah.
The intention is to get close. And guys don't think like that.
No.
And guys, we still need to learn that. And listening is extremely important. Of course, you would attest as well. Women tend to use more words. They tend to speak more, be more long-winded and all those type of things. If a guy could get it done in 2 words or less, 2 words or less. But we need to develop the habit of listening. Lately, I've been trying to figure out, not only with my wife, but with others, not what they say, what are they saying, and how are they asking for help? What help are they asking for?
Exactly.
Sometimes people are actually asking for help. And we hear all kind of noise and hear all kind of things, but they may be asking for help. And I try to figure out. But of course, I've gotten better with dealing with conflicts. Sometimes you need to know, you know what? Just don't say nothing now. Just leave it a little later on.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it gets later on, of course, everybody cool down, be able to talk about it more clearly, out of what I was thinking versus what you were thinking. And for me, what has helped me all the time is the end result is we can be together and we can figure this out. All the rough seas in between and the rocky road and the hailstorm and all those things in between, the result, we're going to stay together anyhow. So let's figure out how we're going to do this and move forward. And I think once I have that understanding, that feeling, and my wife has that understanding, that feeling, all this noise in between, and then we realize as well, some of that noise ain't even necessary. Some of those battles ain't even make sense to light up that cannon and fire it.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
True.
Yeah,
so true.
My wife keeps saying life is short, people dying every day. But let's move on to something else. How do you balance being a parent and a spouse? How do you deal with, how do you mix the two? Being a parent and a spouse. Because being a parent, of course, Brother Jamal, you talk about your son, you had to carve out that specific time for you and him alone for that to work. Being a parent is important. Being a spouse is important. How do y'all juggle the two, mix the two, balance the two? Let me hear from you.
One of the things I've come to realize, again, early in marriage, everything was about my husband and my children. We went everywhere together. We did everything together. Did the same with extended family too as well. As years have gone, we both seasoned into this thing, and it's now, okay, what do we do differently? Because you realize the children are getting older. The constructive time that you need to spend with them is different because of the age. Yes, when it's time to go out, one going to want to go, one ain't going to want to go. So what do you do differently? So what I've started trying to do these last couple of years is to try to spend more one-on-one with each child at a different level. So it's very different with my daughter compared with my son. With my son now working is a little bit more challenging, but when it's time to pick him up from work, I use that time to communicate with him, talk with him, ask certain questions. Don't want to be too much of a pushy mom, but at the same time, I still want him to know that I'm interested in what he is doing and what his thoughts are, where he's going from here on. When it comes to spending time with his spouse, my husband's job is very demanding. And so his shifts, again, have gone stable. But we do try at least, even if it's just once a month, to go out together, leave the children home, even if it's just for a drive, or go and get his favorite food, sushi, just to try to talk a little bit and to just separate and reminisce on how it was when we first got married and compared to now, and try to think of, or try to agree then on certain things that we can do differently from here on out. Especially for me, again, thinking in the future, what's going to happen when the children are no longer there? And it's gone back to just us being alone, and then him and in his hectic work schedule. What do you anticipate us moving forward from there? So those are some of the things that we try to talk about a little bit now, spending time with either part of the family.
On our end, we try our best to. There are some days in the week where I come home. I'm the last to get home. My wife is mostly home before me, so she spends a lot of time with the kids and interacting with them. She's great with talking with them. She loves spending time and talking with them individually. I've learned also to separate the time frames. Sister Shamel mentioned she does something individually with the 2 kids. I try to do that also with mine, but we do a lot of bonding game nights and stuff. Like for instance, last night, we're all home. So we just came up with some games. Hey, let's see who knows who best. Ask each other questions and we get points. So we spend that time together. we try to make sure that they get a good night's rest. So at least by 8 o'clock, they get to go into the bed. So that kind of limits the time spent during the week. But we do check in with each other, with the kids. And then in the weekend, we tend to always make sure we do something together as a group. You know, and in regards to spending time with my wife, every night we sit and she sleeps very early. So I just try and make sure I'm home early, or I would announce to her, listen, I'm coming home around 9 o'clock, and make sure you're up so that we can just talk, touch base. Yeah. And then, like I said, we make use of the time when we're home together. We had 2 weeks home for the carnival break, and we did stuff with the kids, and then we sent the kids over by my mom because my mom loved to have them. And we spent 2 days at home where we just enjoyed each other's company, and we watched movies. We went for a couple of drives. We just did stuff bonding together, and we used that time to talk. And I gave her a chance to express, hey, you could bring up something that we talk about, that you want to talk about, and I'm going to say nothing. And I just give her that time to just leave her express, because that's the good time, I feel, to have a healthy conversation when we're on good terms. And not that we're throwing stuff at each other and stuff. We try our best to manage the bonding time with each other, because I think the kids benefit more from it when we bond and we're stronger. And it's quite hard when they're all together because they all want our attention. And, hey, daddy, reach home. And then after the next 3-4 minutes, they're like, okay, yeah, mommy, yeah, this. We make sure we spend time together. It's all about, again, the keyword again, balancing the time.
Yeah, indeed. And what I've noticed help with us is when they open the door to let you into their world, step in. Don't run in and take over.
Yeah.
An example is my son has a game system, PS5. He got it a little while ago. And then he eventually got another controller. He said he bought it for me, but he didn't buy it. So I got to step into his world. Now here's where it didn't go well. I beat him at all the games that he was playing. So
you don't like that.
And I think somebody mentioned, Sister Shamel, it could be that time in the car. I noticed that
very important. Yeah.
I mean, we had 2 vehicles and we would split ourselves and split the children and so forth. But we kept coming back to one, and I enjoy having the one, even though sometimes it's double duty because you're all in the car. You get to talk about all kind of crazy stuff. You get to ask them all kind of things. Some things would be just spit out that you just didn't know about. All together deal. But when it comes to parenting and spouse, in my life, there's only one person I ever chose to be related to. I didn't choose to be related to my father, mother, sister, uncles, aunts, children. I didn't choose to be related to one person. That's my wife. If I chose one person, that has to be priority among humans on this planet. And the children need to understand that's priority. And you need to understand how you speak to my wife and how you don't speak to my wife. That just needs to be clear. And what has helped us is me defending her and her defending me. So we would just let them know, you don't speak to your mother like that. Or better yet, you don't speak to my wife like that. Or you don't speak to your father like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. They need to know the role. And let's not fool ourselves. And I'm sure that you all are not fooled. Those children don't plan to stay with us for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
No, that ain't the plan.
Yeah.
We
Very
don't
clear.
plan to have them around either because they will not be around. When that time comes when it's an empty nest, as they would say, the two of us, let's not then discover that we are both strangers in one house. No, we can get back to what we used to do when we didn't have children.
Children, exactly.
Yeah. So I think it is quite important for the children to realize the importance of the connection between the parents. Some people do it, and I don't think it should be done. Having a favorite and showing favoritism.
Sure.
I think that's an issue.
Unhealthy.
I think that's an unhealthy issue because children, as long as they realize that you're not the favorite, they may do weird stuff to get their attention, or they may just clamp down and stay away just because they know they're not the favorite. I try to understand the differences between the children as well. For example, my son, when we used to go shopping, oftentimes me and he would be boxing each other, pushing each other down, choking, all kind of weird stuff. But that's what guys do. For a younger time, I hit my daughter, give her a little tap, and she watched me like, you trying to kill me? It's different between the two.
Yeah.
Different between the two. Now, with her now, we could talk from sun up to sundown, just chat. That's what we get to do. Of course, it's less now because they're earlier. For example, I still walk her to school. I don't walk her to the gate because she nicely. Daddy,
exactly. Don't come no further.
yeah, and let me walk the rest. I was like, okay, that's fine. But we walk together, we chat, and we do those type of things. So I think it's important, of course, to help the children understand that the relationship between husband and wife goes above and beyond the relationship between parent and child. And that bond, Brother Jamal, you mentioned, that strong bond between parents helps with the children.
Danny, I have a question. What I've come to notice in every aspect of our lives, in every role that we play, whether as a parent or as a spouse, is hard work. And as the years go by, it can become tiring. So a guy's perspective, can you tell me how do you deal with that time when you find it's becoming tiring? Being a parent. Yeah, being a parent and being a spouse.
Yeah, what I've realized lately is that I'm communal property. So I belong to so many people. A lot of it, of course, totally to God, parts of it to my wife and everybody else. So there are times when I have a long day at work and I get home and I feel like they ain't got an extra room here. I don't care if it ain't got lights and air conditioning. I'm just go in the corner there and say by myself. But I have to tell myself, no, I can't do that. They didn't see me for the whole day. Now they want to talk to me. So then I just have to tell myself, I got to get up and just listen here, just do what I got to do here. I just got to get it done. Because when it comes to putting in the extra hours at work and getting that stuff done, I get it done. Now at home, I can't just put everything on pause and everybody on pause and just, no.
True.
That's important as well. Okay. And when it comes to the mix, there will be a time when, for example, we get to go on vacation. Work is no longer an issue. And even small bits of vacation important. Last week, we had a couple of days off. It was on Thursday. There was a fun day at the church. And we say, you know what? After that, we're going beach. And after that, we went beach. So I got that small little vacation time where we could just be away from devices. We went to Mullet Bay. The children had never been to Mullet Bay before. I was like, y'all never came down here? They was like, no. This was the beach back, and we even started talking about history. So they got that experience of Mullet Bay. We got that time of just being away. But to answer your question in a nutshell, I just at times just need to put in that extra effort for them. So they could see it as well, they could feel it as well. And it's not as if daddy always out and he doing so much out there for everybody else.
True.
But also put in that extra effort for them.
Okay.
That's how I try to do it. Yeah. Was that question only for me?
No, for both guys.
Pretty much he summed it up.
Okay.
What I do, you just mentioned that he would like to have that room to just go in and unwind and stuff. That's one of the reasons I make sure put in that time to go walking before I go home. It gives me a little time to unwind.
Unwind, gotcha.
And then when I reach home, I can just jump straight into being a husband, being a dad. Hey, how did it go? How did this go? How did that go? My last daughter, she's really a daddy's girl, so she is everything. She wants to climb up on top of me and sit so that I can talk. But I also have to check in with the other two to make sure that their needs are being met. They're being heard also. And then still have to check in with my wife also. So I choose to, first I used to go home, straight into the bathroom, sit down just to catch myself and then come out, take my shower and then come out. But now I unwind and my wife understands that I need that 20 minutes or a half an hour just to walk out to the car, jump into the car, and I'm good to be who I need to be when I reach home.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when we upload new videos. We'd love to hear from you. So please leave a comment below and let us know what you think about this topic. What are some of the challenges and strategies that you face and use to balance your life, career, and church? How do you seek God's guidance and direction in finding balance? What are some of the benefits and tips that you can share with others who are struggling with balance? Let us know in the comment section. And remember, balance is not a destination, but a journey. So keep on seeking God's will and trusting His plan for your life. God bless you and see you in the next episode of Let's Talk.